Hi everyone, my name is Nitin Chhoda, and in this training video, we're going to educate you about a financial action plan. I'll give you specific ideas on how you can pay rent if you have no income. I'll give you specific ideas on how you can lower your costs during this difficult time. We'll also give you specific guidance on telehealth and e-visits, and all of this is covered in much more detail in the COVID-19 response article on our website. Now, speaking of the COVID-19 response, we in our company have formed what we call the COVID-19 response unit. The goal is to provide you specific guidance on the money aspect and the maintaining business continuity, and more importantly on the e-visits and the telehealth aspect. Now, I'm going to tell you what the high level points are, and we're going to cover 3 points. One is how we can reduce the financial burden on each other and how we can get through this difficult time. Number 2, I'll give you specific guidance on telehealth and e-visits. And number 3, I'll give you an action plan on how you can give patients hope during this difficult time. But at a high level, let me advise you that e-visits and telehealth, they don't pay very much. The idea behind e-visits and telehealth was to provide a certain set of codes that could be billed for nominal reimbursement when the patient can't come in for an in-office visit during a quote-unquote normal time. Now, these are not normal times. We're in the middle of a pandemic. So there is no provision for getting paid for a 97140 or a 97110 through a video call. That provision simply doesn't exist. We cannot do that based on current guidance. So these codes don't pay very much. So my advice to everyone listening is, if you're struggling to pay rent, if you're struggling and if you've had to furlough employees, or if you had to let employees go and you're actually struggling to pay your bills, focus on the first part of this video, which is the alleviation of the financial burden. Focus on the small business administration loan. Focus on asking for fee waivers or discounts from vendors. We'll talk about that. Focus on using services like Plastique to pay your bills using your credit card, and I'll teach you a great strategy to do that for almost no cost. Focus on things like that instead of e-visits and telehealth, because if you're struggling to pay your bills and then making $20, $30, $40 a visit is good, but it's not going to solve all your problems. In fact, if you're focusing on e-visits and telehealth when you have bigger bills to pay and you don't strategically work on the bigger components, it's like stepping over the $100 bills so that you can pick up quarters and you can pick up pennies. You don't want to do that. You want to be a whole lot more strategic about how you approach this particular situation. So let's talk about reducing your financial burden. I talk to private practice owners who are struggling to pay their rent, who've had to let go staff members, who don't have any patients coming in because of everything that's going on. In this situation, the number one thing I would advise all of you to do is to apply for a disaster loan from the Small Business Administration. The Small Business Administration has over $2 trillion that is available to small businesses, homeowners, and renters. And all you have to do is apply on the disaster loan website. It'll take about 30 minutes for you to complete this application, and you should receive a response fairly quickly, and you can get loans from anywhere at a 1% rate to as high as maybe 3.5-4% rate. Go ahead and apply for this even if you don't need it. You want the option to be able to access this money even if you don't need it, and that interest rate is low enough for you to be able to at least apply for it and see where it goes. So I strongly recommend you apply for that type of loan. So here's the website of the Disaster Loan Assistance Program by the Small Business Administration. You can apply online. You can look at eligible disaster areas, which you are in most likely, and you can check application status. It'll take about 30 minutes. I strongly recommend that you apply for this loan. Now, the second thing that I would do if I was struggling financially in the COVID-19 crisis would be to talk to your landlord, talk to your service providers, your EMR company, your billing service, any marketing companies that you work with, and ask for service fee waivers, ask for deferments, and if the company really cares about you and understands your situation, they'll respond. I was talking to a client on the phone right before I recorded this training video, and she said, well, I spoke to my landlord and he said he has bills to pay. Well, my response is, tell the landlord that he should ask them to defer his payments. My point is, you should be able to talk to your landlord, and a lot of us have relationships with landlords. We've been working with them for 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years, and just say, look, I'm going to be 30 days, maybe 60 days behind in my rent. It's not going to affect your credit if you're 30 to 60 days behind. Typically, things affect your credit if you're much later than that 60, 90 days. And just talk to your landlord, talk to the service provider and say, listen, I need you to either give me a discount or I need you to give me a deferral of my service fee so that I can pay you 30, 60, 90 days down the road. Your landlord's not going to call the sheriff and try and get you evicted. Chances are, if he does, the sheriff might just hang up on him given these uncertain times. So the point here is not to worry about the negative aspect, but just ask. You never know until you ask. We're all human beings. We're all in this together. And most likely when you ask, your landlord or your service provider will respond and will give you some financial relief. So go ahead and do that. Now, the third thing is I would use loans and lines of credit that you have already. I would use tools like Plastique. Plastique is actually a tool that you use your credit card to pay service providers. Now, speaking of service providers, really quick, if you are an existing client of InTouch EMR or any of our services, if you're an existing client of InTouchEMR.com, InTouchBillerPro.com, which is our billing software, InTouchBilling.com, which is our billing service, EligibilityVerification.com, where we verify your benefits for you and become an extension of your front desk. If you're using softwares like therapynewsletter.com, clinicalcontact.com, which is our text messaging software, reach out to us and let us know if you're facing any financial difficulties, and we'll do everything we can to work closely with you through this rather challenging and difficult time. So we'll work with you closely as well. Our goal is to reduce the burden on you, not increase the burden. Let's get back to Plastique. Now, Plastique is a rather interesting tool where you can actually use your credit card to make payments for rent, for utilities. You can even pay employees. You can pay independent contractors. So the way it works is you take your credit card, you set up a free Plastique account. It's free. There's no setup fee. There's no monthly fee. And then what happens is you set up these individuals as recipients inside your Plastique account. And the way that Plastique works is that they'll charge your credit card, they'll charge you a 2.5% transaction fee, and then they will either wire the money or mail a check to the recipient in a few business days. It's a pretty interesting service. Now, if you're thinking, oh my God, the 2.5% is too high, now I want you to really think about this. Let's say your credit card gives you a 1% or a 2% cash back, so that mitigates some of the 2.5%. Number two, this is a business tax deduction. It's a legal, it's a legitimate business tax deduction. Number three, now this is an interesting strategy. Let's say your credit card cycle runs from April 8th through May 7th. If you charge your Plastique card on the 8th of April so that your landlord or whoever you need to pay gets paid in 3 to 4 business days by the 12th or the 13th of April, that statement for that period generates, remember, April 8th through May 7th. So the statement will generate on the 7th of May. Now, if the statement generates on the 7th of May, you have 25 days after the statement generates with all credit cards to make the payment. So if the statement generates in this example on the 7th of May, you have until the 2nd of June to pay it off. Now think about this. If you charge your card on the 8th of April and you pay off, you fulfill your obligations, and you have until the 2nd of June to pay it off in full without finance charges. By the way, banks are now starting to waive finance charges. That's another matter. But let's say you had until the 2nd of June to pay off your credit card. Think about it. You've got almost 2 months, because remember, you charged in this scenario on the 8th of April, but you have until the 2nd of June because the statement generated on the 7th of May. 25 days after the 7th of May is the 2nd of June. If you have that much time to pay it off, almost 2 months, and you're able to get some cash back, you're able to get a business deduction for this expense. Now think about that. That gives you almost 2 months, almost interest free. Almost. Now it's not going to be free because it's going to cost, there's a 2.5% transaction fee. Some of us have cards which give you more than 2%. That gets even better. But if you have almost 2 months to pay off the money, it's buying you peace of mind and it's buying you time. And that's worth it at times like this. And speaking of banks saving money on you, or speaking of banks waiving fees, deferring payments, all you have to do is call your bank and then tell them that you need help. Tell them that you want them to waive fees. Tell them that you want to defer payments, and you'll be able to do this without impacting your credit. You could do this for your credit cards, you could do this for your auto loans, you could do this for your mortgages. You have to learn to ask. So that's extremely crucial. So by all means, take advantage of tools like Plastique to start to make your payments and get creative financially. Use loans, use lines of credits. Now, let's get to the elephant in the room. We've been getting a lot of emails about e-visits, about telehealth. I actually had one clinician call me and say, Nitin, can we bill out a 97140 or a 97110 through a video conference? I was like, no, you can't. We can't do that. That's an in-office visit. You're not supposed to do that. So don't do that. What you can do, however, is bill out telehealth and e-visits. Now, these two terms are used interchangeably. In our article, I go into a lot more detail and give you the difference between telehealth and e-visits. But broadly speaking, telehealth is a very broad term that includes several things, including communication between providers. E-visits, on the other hand, include a very specific scenario where there is interaction between a provider and a patient using a HIPAA-compliant patient portal. Now, these days, CMS has actually relaxed that requirement. They're a lot more lenient about how you can communicate with patients. They haven't precisely established a guidance at the time I'm making this video, but we've seen clients use Skype, use Zoom, use FaceTime video calling, and then document that interaction in a SOAP note through your EMR or however you do it, and then bill that out using the specific G codes in the case of Medicare and using the specific 9 series codes in the case of the commercial payers with the specific modifiers. Now, with commercial payers, let me just emphasize, different commercial payers are following different guidelines. Different states are establishing different guidelines for telehealth and e-visits. So this situation is very fluid and changing very quickly. And you need to go back to our article to look at the latest guidance on telehealth versus e-visits, what you can bill out, what you can't bill out, what you should do. But broadly speaking, let me just give you the bottom line. It's a small amount of money. When we bill out our traditional PT codes, we get paid anywhere from $70 a visit to maybe $100 plus a visit. These codes pay you maybe $30, $40, if that. So it's a small amount of money. Now, it's still money, but it's not going to pay all your bills. It's not going to help you fulfill all your financial obligations. So be strategic about how you approach this. If it's good for your business, do it. The one thing that you have to remember here is the patient must initiate the e-visit. How do you get the patient to initiate the e-visit? Set up an announcement on your website, send out an email, send out text messages, do a voice broadcast, pick up the phone and call patients. Let them know that e-visits are available and that it could be covered by their insurance. Now, if the patient says, yep, I'd like to do an e-visit, that's the patient initiating an e-visit. Ideally, you want to document the e-visit through an online patient portal. We at intouchemr.com have an online patient portal, which is part of our software at no additional charge. So definitely something you can look into. But more importantly, when you do the e-visit, document it as a SOAP note. Ideally, if you can, record the call with the patient with the patient's permission. But even if you don't, that's fine. Document everything in the SOAP note and then bill it out using the appropriate e-visit codes and the appropriate modifiers and the appropriate place of service. You want to use place of service 11 if you're doing the e-visit from your office. You want to use the place of service 12 if you're doing the e-visit from your home. So keep all of these things in mind when billing out e-visits. Again, focusing on e-visits while excluding some of the things I mentioned earlier in this training video. In my opinion, it's like stepping over the $100 bills to pick up the pennies and the quarters. Please don't do that. Think about what's best for your business strategically. Number 3, this is the most important thing. I want you to give patients hope, demonstrate leadership, demonstrate solidarity. 3 things happen in a time of war, in a time of strife. 1, the strong get stronger and demonstrate leadership. And I know you'll do that. Number 2, the weak get weaker, feel nervous, feel scared. They project their nervousness, their fear, their anxiety on others. And that's normal, that's human. They need leadership. And number 3, this is funny, more babies are born. This is what's happened after World War I. It's happened after World War II. It happened after 9/11. So I just thought that would be interesting. But the important thing here is that you need to make an announcement on your website, send out a text message, send out an email, call patients, Send out a voice broadcast. Get the word out to patients that you're there for them. Use a simple script like, hey, we're just reaching out to you. We want you to know that we are here for you and you can initiate an e-visit if you need us. As soon as things get better, we'll be open, but we're here. We're staying safe. We want you to stay safe, and we are here if you need anything. We care for you, we appreciate you, and you are in our thoughts. And we're happy to do an e-visit for you on a first come, first served basis. We expect to get our e-visit slots filled up very quickly, so reach out to us and we'll get the e-visit scheduled. That's how you need to approach patients, because you need to let them know you are there for them. In a situation like this, I'll leave you with one thought. Always over communicate. Don't go into your shell. Don't disappear. Don't try to be strong. When you over communicate, when you give each other hope, when we project solidarity, and when we project strength, that is when we can help all of us collectively as humans get through this. Because at the end of the day, none of us are immune to what's going on, literally. Thank you so much for watching. We are here for you. You can look at our article, and there are ways to get in touch with us. You can schedule a call. You can initiate a call through the website. You can send us a text message, send us an email, comment on our Facebook post, comment on our LinkedIn article, send us a Facebook message, and we'll be happy to assist you in any way we can. If you are an existing client, we'll discuss ways to ease your financial burden. If you're not an existing client, we'll discuss ways where we can give you extended access to all our services at no charge, so you can see that we are not only a better service, but we care for you. And we're not just driven by profits. We're in this together, and we're here for you. Thank you so much. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks.